This question asks us to balance the chemical reaction shown below. The equation looks really complex, but we're going to do one thing right away to simplify, and that's to change water, H2O, to HOH. There's still 2 hydrogens and there's still 1 oxygen, so it's still the same compound, but it's separating water in terms of hydrogen and hydroxide, which will make it a lot easier for balancing. I'm going to use the table that I've used in previous questions to solve. So again, the headings of my columns are R and P, and then I'm going to add my different elements or compounds into the rows. Anytime you find something on the reactant side and the product side, even if it's not just an element, for example, a polyatomic compound, if you see it together on reactants and on products, you can put it together in this table. So the first thing I have is Ba, barium. The next thing I have is OH2, I have hydroxide. When I look over here, I also have hydroxide, so I can include hydroxide together. I've got hydrogen here, and I've got phosphate here and phosphate here. So I have 4 different things in this reaction. On reactant side, I have 1 barium, I have 2 hydroxides, I have 3 hydrogens, I have 1 phosphate. On product side, I have 3 bariums, I have 1 hydroxide, I have 1 hydrogen, and I have 2 phosphates. So when I look at this right now, nothing is balanced. Because there's no single element alone, I can start by balancing whatever I want to. And so in this case, I'll just start with the first one, which is barium. I have 1 barium on reactants, 3 on products. I need to increase barium on the reactant side by turning a 1 into a 3, which means I need to multiply by 3. My 3, which is going to be a coefficient, needs to go in front of the compound that contains barium. That affects barium and turns barium into a 3. It also affects hydroxide. 3 times 2 turns my hydroxide into a 6. If I want to increase hydroxide next, since it's the next one, I can see that I need to increase hydroxide on the product side by turning a 1 into a 6. 1 becomes 6 by multiplying by 6. I need to put a 6 as the coefficient in front of the compound that contains hydroxide, which is the water. That turns my hydroxide into a 6. It also turns my hydrogen on the product side into a 6. Now I can go to my hydrogen. I can increase my hydrogen. I need to turn a 3 into a 6. 3 times 2 is 6. So if I put a 2 in front of my hydrogen, 3 times 2 is 6. That also affects my phosphate. 2 times 1 phosphate is 2. So it also increases my phosphate and turns it into a 2. Now when I look across, barium, hydroxide, hydrogen, and phosphate are all balanced, and my reaction is complete.